what can I help you with?
Oh, how are you?
I'm doing great.
I have an old helmet from around World War I-ish.
It's pretty neat. Not the most protective thing in the world.
And some poor bastard had to wear this to protect his head.
I came down to the pawn shop today to sell my grandfather's old World War I Marine helmet. I could use the money to take my wife on another honeymoon trip. I really feel it's worth $500, but if worse come to worse, I would take 3.
It was probably one of the most hellish wars we ever had. It was the first war where there was chemical warfare. You see the old movies and everything, and you see the Germans using it. We used it too.
I didn't know that.
The problem was, when you used the chemical warfare, we killed as many Americans as we killed Germans with our own gas. All of a sudden, the wind would change. You know, you're killing your own guys.
And it changed the way wars fought today. I mean, we still don't use mustard gas.
It was a brutal, terrible war. They called it a war of inches because literally they would fight for days just to get a few feet. World War I was a nasty, nasty conflict. No one had ever fought a large-scale war with poison gas before. And high-speed machine guns made it even worse. So the soldiers had to dig down into trenches to survive. I mean, this is definitely legit. This is a World War I helmet. I can 99.9% guarantee that. The value of these things is really determined usually on that logo right there. Which division of the forces is on the front of it. This stuff is major important. What I don't know, though, is this emblem supposed to be here? It appears to be Marines, which would make it a lot rarer. The Marines have always been a much smaller force than the regular Army and everything else. In World War I, every U.S. Army division had a different helmet logo. Some are more rare than others, so whether this helmet is worth hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars, it all depends on the details. I don't know everything about World War I, so let me call on somebody who does. He'll tell us what's going on and what it's worth.
Okay, great.
I'll be right back.
All right, thanks.
Original World War I stuff is getting harder and harder to find. I'm just crossing my fingers it's legit, because people are always faking this stuff. So this is what I called you about.
Yeah, it looks like a U.S. Marine Corps helmet. The guys usually call me up when they get some unusual military item that they have concerns about its authenticity, and I can usually figure it out and appraise it for them.
Do you know how many Marines were in World War I?
Tens of thousands. During World War I, half of the 2nd Army Division was the U.S. Marines.
Okay.
This is a World War I era helmet, and you can tell by the flared out rim. And they designed this because of artillery shell bursts. So this would protect the shoulders and the back of the neck. People think that helmets will deflect bullets, and they're not effective for that. Really, it's just designed to protect you from shrapnel and light hits. This symbol is the 2nd Army Division in the 5th Marine Regiment. That's the Eagle Globe and Anchored Marine Corps emblem above it.
All right. So are the Marine ones a lot rarer than the Army ones?
Marine Corps ones are a lot rarer and a lot more desirable, which means people fake them a lot more. Some people are really good at faking this stuff.
That's exactly what my concerns are. Someone faked that thing.
Okay, I'll take a closer look.
If this helmet is legit and has the right markings, it could be worth well over $2 grand. And a good fake is worth right around 20 bucks as a movie prop.
Okay, well, I got some news for you guys. I think it's definitely real. The reason I believe it's real, it's a World War I era Marine Corps emblem. And the way you can tell is World War I era, the globe had both the latitude and longitude lines. Later on, they only had the latitude. And the paint looks good, everything looks good to me, and good age. The patina on the EGA is perfect. It has age. There's a lot of grime. It doesn't look like anybody's painted that. It looks all original.
So what do you think it's worth?
Well, in today's market, I'd say somewhere between $900 and $1,500.
Okay.
When the expert told me it was worth up to $1,500, I was very excited because, you know, I walked in only wanting, you know, $500 for it. So I thought, gosh, this is my payday.
Thanks a lot, man. You're the best.
Sure thing. Thank you.
I was already pretty sure the helmet was genuine, but it's always a relief when you know for sure. All right, so how much you want for it?
Well, 13.
No, that's not gonna happen. If you put this on the internet, no one's gonna buy it off you because they're not gonna know if it's a fake or not.
I'd really like to get $1,000.
I'm thinking more like 500 bucks.
I can't do 500. I mean, this is really rare from what the expert said. Would you be willing to go $950?
I'll tell you what, I'll go $700. I mean, I have a business here. I have to make money.
How about $750?
All right, $750.
All right, thank you.
All right, you wanna write them up?
Let's go do some paperwork, my man.
I walked in, I only wanted $500. I walked out with $750, and I'll tell you, this is a great day.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. Got something pretty cool for you today. It's a set of field glasses from World War I, used by the Lovett Scouts from the original ghillie unit. They're a sniper unit.
Definitely cool, man. These are probably 1900-ish, probably German, which is funny because you have an officer carrying German binoculars fighting the Germans.
These field glasses are really cool because they are actually owned by a man who was in the Lovett Scouts. The Lovett Scouts were very famous for being fast, heavy attack. They would get in, they would do their job, and they would move on. I want to get $800 for these today, but if they're really looking to negotiate, I'd probably take $500.
They're really super interesting. Now, on the other hand, Alex J. Campbell, I have no clue.
I was able to find a little bit about him.
Okay.
I confirmed that he was in the Lovett Scouts.
Okay. The Lovett Scouts, they were a Scottish regiment, but they were part of the English Army. Basically, they were forward scouts that were also snipers. So they had the lousy job of sneaking past enemy lines and sending back reports about what's going on. And a lot of times there was a specific target they were sent out to get, you know.
Yeah.
The really super interesting thing about the Lovett Scouts was they were commanded by Frederick Russell Burnham.
Yes.
Damn, I wish I had his life. He was born on an Indian reservation. He literally grew up with American Indians, and they were out there in the fields hunting and everything. He learned how to shoot a bow with them. But Burnham gave them the ghillie suit. The Army uses them today. It's that giant, fuzzy...
Walking bush.
It's a walking bush. So when you're laying on the ground, you look like a bush, and he runs away, and it looks like Snuffleupagus. This guy was like Indiana Jones, Errol Flynn, all those things mixed together. They're really super interesting. The Lovett Scouts were badass, and their story is really cool. But badass doesn't always equal big bucks. If that was the case, I'd be a billionaire. Just kidding. Well, sort of. And how much you want for them?
I'd like to get $800, and I'll say why. I've looked it up on some of the auction sites. Field glasses from the era are going between $800 and $1,200. These have that unique Lovett Scout. They're engraved.
Field glasses from that time period do go for a lot of money if they are Carl Zeiss, things like that. The problem is these are the generic ones a German company made so that they could ship to someone else and they could put their name on them. I mean, they were the cheap pair. It's neat that they're from the Lovett Scouts, but I don't think I could sell them.
Really?
Because if they're Burnhams, I could sell them and make money. If they were Zeiss, I could sell them and make money. But if we don't have any of those combinations, and I don't think you're really going to be able to get anything out of them, to tell you the truth.
Man, you know, it might be something for you to take your risk on.
But there's no potential here.
Wow. Okay. Now I'm gonna have to take my chances online with them then, see what I can do there.
Yeah, throw them on the internet, see what you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have a good one, man.
Thank you. I am so confident I'm gonna sell these on my own. With the uniqueness of them being from the Lovett Scouts, I think we'll make great money on them.
What do we have here?
I have no idea.
Okay, these are German helmets.
What are the spikes for?
Oh, they put the helmets on their head, they'd bend over and run into people. That's how they fought wars. I'm kidding.
Sounds pretty efficient.
I came down to the pawn shop today with a couple of helmets I found in my dad's basement, and I just want to see how much they're worth. They've been just collecting dust, and maybe I'd get a couple $100 out of them.
You can tell this helmet is from early World War I because it's made out of leather. Later in the war, the Germans were running out of supplies, so they started making them out of felt, and that's how you can tell this is later in the war.
Looks like the hat the monkey wears when he rides a little tricycle around the circus.
For thousands of years, militaries spent lots of time parading, marching, and doing things for show. Helmets like this were mostly decorative. They definitely weren't bulletproof, and the spike on top was just for looks. It's a neat piece of history. The reason Germany lost World War I is plain and simple. They were running out of supplies. And once the United States got involved, they had no chance. These helmets are incredible. Finding things from World War I in this good a shape is getting harder and harder. This one's probably an enlisted guy, and this is probably an officer. Generally, 100-year-old leather just falls to pieces. Someone has really taken care of these things over the years, but I just don't know enough about them to really give you a price. I got a friend who specializes in military collectibles, and this is something he definitely deals in. So let me get him down here, and he'll know everything there is to know about him, okay?
That'd be great.
You just don't see old German military items that much anymore. Collectors love pairs, and hopefully, they'll both be valuable. How's it going?
Hey, Rick, how's it going?
Good. We got 2 old German helmets.
I deal in all things military, from the Revolutionary War up to Vietnam. Well, this is Pickelhaube. This is Pickelhauben, plural. The pickle is the spike, and the haben is the hat.
Okay.
What you have here is an enlisted ersatz helmet. Ersatz. When they ran out of leather, they would make them out of felt, cardboard. You can see how they put a felt stiffener in the back. Usually this is metal. So these things started falling out of favor because they were getting a lot of head casualties, due to artillery airbursts.
Okay. And what's this thing?
This is a Prussian officer's helmet. Here is a reserve, and you can tell that by the cross in the front. You can see where it looks like there's been some repairs done on this. It looks like it's been restitched. Very common for the stitching to come undone. The American GIs would pick these up on the battlefield. You might take it off a dead German. You might trade with a prisoner of war. But the Pickelhaubes these days, the leather tends to wear out. There's nothing you can really do about it. So these were better than average specimens.
So these would be considered in great shape?
They'd be considered in very good shape. I mean, great would be the stitching original, the metal's not touched up. This one I would put pretty close to great.
Okay, so what are these worth?
Well, the ersatz, I would consider this worth about $850, $950.
Okay, and what's this one going for?
This one, even though it's been touched up, I would consider it worth between $1,000 and $1,250.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Paul. You're the
Thanks,
best,
Rick.
man.
Good seeing you again.
So what would you like to do with these? Pawn them, sell them?
I like to sell them.
Okay, and how much you want for them?
He's saying 800. I think 2,000 would be a good place to start.
I'm gonna be lucky to get that. We're talking 850, maybe 1,000. Someone come in here, they're gonna try and get a deal on the pair.
No offense, but really, that's not my problem.
It really is. I mean, because it's tough. No one's buying them at the moment. I'm thinking more like 800 bucks.
Is that a piece?
No, that's total.
All right, how about 1,500?
I'll tell you what, my best shot's gonna be 1,000 bucks, period.
I just can't do 1,000. I hate to walk out of here with these things, but
Looks like you're gonna have to walk.
you can't work with me on this.
I'll go 1050.
I'll take it.
All right, deal. Run them up, chum.
All right.
When he came back with the $800 offer, come on, you can do better than that. And now that I got the 1050 in my hand, the blackjack tables, here I come.
Hey, how can I help you?
This is a flag that was cut off of a World War I airplane by my grandfather. The plane was bullet-ridden, and it crashed.
So let me get this right. The plane was on fire, and your grandfather ran up with a knife and cut the flag out so the American flag wouldn't burn.
That's right.
That's awesome.
I came to the pawn shop today to sell my grandfather's flag, which he cut from a World War I airplane. I'd like to sell it because it's been sitting around for 95 years, and I'd like it to go to somebody that really would like to do something. And, it's always nice to make a little bit of extra cash as well.
So what can you tell me about it?
This article was from about 1940. He brought the flag to work, intending to have it framed. He was called out to duty, and when he came back, the flag was gone, and he assumed somebody stole it. Well, 10 years later, he helped move the lockers away, and there was the flag for 10 years.
So you have the flag in the article. You got anything else to back up your story?
I have these dog tags, and one of these dog tags actually says Lieutenant Quentin Roosevelt on the back and George Pine, my father's name, on the front.
That is really cool. Quentin Roosevelt was Teddy Roosevelt's youngest son. He was a great pilot, and when he was shot down, the Germans buried him with full military honors. To think that this flag was off one of the planes in his squadron is just an amazing part of history. I will have no problem selling it. So what were you looking to do with it?
I'd like to sell it.
Okay. Did you have a number in mind?
$7,500. I did have it appraised, and it came in at $10,000.
It is a one-of-a-kind item, but you can appraise it for anything. So I can offer you like $5 grand.
Make it $6,500. What you have to think about here is, how would you replace this? How could anybody...
Well, you can't exactly
Yeah.
replace it, but there's other very expensive, very patriotic things from World War I. So $6,000 is more than fair.
$6,000. You have a deal.
You want to write her up, Corey?
All right,
Thank
come with
you.
me.
I'm seriously excited to get this flag. It's a one-of-a-kind piece that's sure to generate collector interest. And stuff like this brings a lot of foot traffic into the shop, so I might not even sell it.
What's that?
Oh, that old helmet hanging up there?
Yeah. This right here. Is that what I think it is? Can I?
Sure.
Cool. Okay, so I'm thinking this might be a Ford Model 8 that would be worth a good chunk of money.
Just by looking at it, Rick, that thing has not been aged or faked in any way. It just screams something from the First World War.
If you're interested, it is for sale.
How much you want for this thing?
Would 500 work for you?
$500 for something you're not sure about. You really need to have someone come take a look at that before you buy it. Take it from someone who's made one or two mistakes.
Those mistakes were always with my money, so I can't get an expert out onto an island in the middle of nowhere. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. Since I'm from Las Vegas, I will straight up do some gambling and buy it off you for $500. The way I look at it, if it turns out to be what I hope it is, I'll make a whole lot of money off it. And if I'm wrong, between this and Chum, it'll be a really expensive trip. Okay, deal, $500.
We got a deal. I made almost $950 today, and so I think it's a great day.
I've had a great time in Detroit, and I've made some incredible finds. But before Chum and I head back to Vegas, I'm wrapping up my adventures on the road with one final stop. So this is really cool. We're gonna get to see the archivist at Ford Motor Company. We're gonna show him the helmet, and hopefully he can tell us something about it. You must be Ted.
I am. Welcome to the Ford Archives.
The giant automobile powerhouse Ford that we know today has been around for a long time. And during World War I, not only did they make cars and trucks, they also made helmets. The thing is, I've never seen one of these before because usually they're living in museums. I did a little gambling. I bought this thing for $500. But if it works out, I'm gonna hit a jackpot. I'm hoping you can tell me more about this helmet.
Let me ask first, how did you get this?
I was with a friend. We go picking a lot.
Who? We. We're with a friend.
We were with a friend. Anyway.
So I found this helmet.
Can I continue?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. We were out picking and we found this. A friend we were with believes this is like the holy grail of World War I helmets. And that's why I called you up and hoping you could tell me.
Well, most people only think that Ford built cars, but when World War I started, the very first thing we made wasn't a car, but a boat. We made a boat called an Eagle boat. It was a submarine chaser. We made 60 of them. We also made an awful lot of helmets. The one that they made almost 1 million of was your typical English Tommy Boy helmet.
And this is supposed to be the super rare experimental one?
There were two types of experimental ones. Type 2, which looked like your typical helmet, and then the Type 8 helmet, which is what this one would be. Type 8 had the visor, because if you're on the front line and there's shrapnel, you can pull the visor down and it'll help protect you.
So is this one made by you guys?
All I can say is that everything about it looks like I would expect it to look. The strap looks accurate. The way the visor falls is accurate. It weighed about 3 pounds. The weight feels accurate. With the felt, one of the unique things about that helmet was they wanted to mass produce it, so they did the felt so they could be folded over so that depending on how big your head was or not how big your head was, you could put the felt on that would make it fit more properly.
Okay.
You know, what you have here just screams of authenticity. It sure looks like the real McCoy.
You answered all my questions. I really appreciate all this.
Thank you. I'm glad you could come today.
Yeah. From what we've learned today, I'm next to positive this thing is the real deal. So I'm gonna send it to my military expert, Alex. He can tell me what it's worth. Hopefully in the end, I make a whole lot of money.
Hey, Rick.
Hey, what's up?
I got a friend of yours here. Where'd you get this?
We got it with a guy selling some stuff out of his garage.
Well, it's a great find. Let me give you a little background on this. So essentially what it is a U.S. World War I experimental steel combat helmet that was designed by a man named Dr. Dean Brashford. And he was actually the curator of the Metropolitan Museum in New York. And he began their world-famous now arms and armor collection.
So what do you think it's worth?
The shell is beautiful. It is really well preserved and maintained. You've got most of the original chin strap. Usually those are way gone. It's a really special helmet, and so collectors are always looking for these. So if this were mine, I would try to sell this for at least $4,000.
Damn.
How much you pay?
Paid $500 for it.
You're gonna make a great profit on it. It's a really special helmet.
You're welcome for coming along and helping.
Do you need like some part-time help or anything like that? I mean,
That's who it is. Oh, I always have room for chump.
Thanks, Alex. Now ship it back so I can make some money on it. What do we have here?
This is a vintage World War I poster. I want to see if you guys might be interested in it.
That is neat.
Haven't you brought enough stuff in here, dude?
No, never. I come in here and try to sting you guys all the time. This is my 5th time coming to the pawn shop, and my hobby is buying and selling stuff. So if I see a deal on something, I'll buy it and try to make a buck on it. I bought it at a yard sale. I paid $15 for it. I'm hoping to get $400 out of it, but the least I'll take, maybe, is $200.
World War I was very unpopular to begin with. No one in this country wanted to get in this war. It wasn't our fight, it was the fight in Europe. And then it was the sinking of the Lusitania. A German U-boat sunk it. The second that ship was sunk, the opinions of the American people flipped 180 degrees. And these were very good recruitment tools. Nowadays, the U.S. military puts ads on television, radio, the internet. But back during World War I, posters like these were their main recruiting tool. And it really worked. Millions of men volunteered.
I don't know that this would inspire me to want to go to war.
Look, he's saying goodbye to his mom, then he's on the march. I mean, they romanticize it a lot here.
Looks like the old man wrote this campaign for home and country. That's something he would say.
This one was supposed to like tear at the heartstrings. Goodbye to the loved ones. You know, decorated for valor. All these great things that are going to happen if you go to war. They definitely didn't want to broadcast that World War I, up to that point, was the deadliest war in the history of mankind. It was trench warfare, machine guns, chemical warfare on both sides. For years, this war was just fought on muddy, disgusting trenches on both sides. No one could make any forward ground. Millions of people died during World War I. It was literally hell on earth. But the job of a recruitment poster is to get guys to sign up, not exactly tell them the facts. Okay, now, how much you want for it?
Is it $400 cool?
No. The coolest one ever made and the most expensive one is, here we go.
That's cool.
You ever seen that one?
Nope. I'll start looking for it.
That one goes for, in good shape, right around $5,000. This is far, far, far and away from the cool ones. It's small, it's a little hokey. Quite frankly, it's the bottom rung of the collectibles of these things.
Okay.
I would give you $100.
You're gonna have to do better than that.
That's what I could do. Literally, that's what they're worth. These things are worth $200. That's what they retail for, $200. I mean, I don't mean to beat you up. I'll go 100 and a quarter.
You own it, man.
All right, you want to write them up, John?
Yeah, I'll write them up. Let's go.
It's not exactly what I wanted. I think it was worth more than that, but 125 bucks wasn't that bad since I picked it up for $15.
What do you think, chum? Some of the new stuff I found just hitting the back roads out here.
I mean, you're really putting in overtime.
So what's in there?
World War I trench periscope, rabbit ear binoculars. Great device that you can use long distance and spy on Chumley.
And all the glasses good?
Yeah, the glasses are great.
see.
They're super clear.
You can't see even regular, Rick. Get ready to board ship, boys. We're taking this thing over. Land ho!
They didn't use those on ships.
They should have. This thing is pretty awesome.
He's got the right idea, just land-based.
I'll tell you what, these are definitely cool. I like these.
Are they collectible?
Yeah, I mean, it's World War I, and it's like optics, and everyone goes crazy over any type of optics.
How much for the binoculars?
$600 bucks.
I don't know. What do you think?
I'll give you 400 bucks for them.
Gotta step that up, bro. Come on.
Step up to what?
Step it up to 5.5.
All right, that's a deal.
All right.
No, what?
Hey, the man said it right there.
I got a buyer for these. I guarantee you he'll buy those. He's been looking for some cool stuff.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, how are you? Thought I'd see if you'd be interested in a 1904 McClellan saddle.
Did your horse break down or something?
I have a model 1904 McClellan saddle. It's a military saddle that was in use for the Civil War, the Indian Wars, and up through World War I. The saddle is in pretty good condition for one that's over 100 years old. I'd like to see if I could get $325 for it.
This is interesting. This is like World War I era then?
Right.
Totally weird war. I mean, we had planes and horses at the same time going there. Basically, it's a military saddle. They needed a smaller version of the saddle for the cavalry.
For the cavalry and the artillery both. It's named after George McClellan, and he was responsible when he wasn't in conflict, either in the Mexican-American War or the Civil War, to design and redesign their equipment, and this is the final version of that saddle.
Really?
Yeah, it was in 1902 the military changed all their leather from black to russet, so the fact that this is a brown saddle and has all brown hardware means that it's that last model. It makes it somewhat unique.
I mean, it looks like it's in good shape, but obviously missing this piece, right? The one that attaches it to the horse.
Just the cinch, but the rest of the hardware is intact.
Okay, how much are you looking to get for it?
They range up to as much as $500 for ones that are pristine, so I'd be happy to get $325 for this one.
Okay, yeah, my dad, for whatever reason, just bought horses, and I think he would love this. So let me give their buddy of ours a call so he can come down and take a look at it. Do you mind if I give him a call real quick?
No, go ahead.
All right, hang out. I'll be right back, all right?
Okay. I'd like to have an expert come in and look at it, give a second opinion, so that I can determine that it's similar to what I think, that it's in good shape for its age, and would make a good accessory for someone's home.
Aha, the McClellan. So the McClellan saddle is the classic U.S. military saddle. George McClellan came up with this design. It was a lightweight saddle based on what we had been using. It fit the horse better. And realistically, they still use these. When you think of that, there are very few things in the military, and it's over a century old, that we are still using.
Oh, wow.
This looks like it's the model 1904.
There's a little bit of a mark there.
Yeah,
I can't
that
tell.
is the inspector's mark. Looks like 1918, which would put it at World War I. It's missing the quarter straps, it's missing the cinch, so it's missing what it needs to actually be on the horse. I think if your dad was buying it to use it, he wouldn't be able to do that, because you put this on a horse, it's gonna fall right back off again.
Is it collectible?
Yeah, people collect these things. If you've got a man cave or something like that, you into Old West stuff, you know, this is one of those classic Old West pieces. If you're going to use it, you've got a lot of stuff that you have to add back onto it.
Gotcha, yeah. So I don't really picture my dad actually using it.
Unless he wants to sit on a saddle tree in the corner.
He's probably better off that way. But Mark, I appreciate you coming down, man.
Not a problem. Very good to meet you. Thank you.
So what are you looking to get for it again?
I think $325.
$325. You know, I don't doubt it's worth it. Would you take $2 for it?
Would you go to $225?
I'll do $225.
Yeah.
All right,
We'll
deal.
do that.
Come with me, do some paperwork.
Okay. I'm glad he ponied up $225 for the saddle. I'm going to take the money, hopefully, and then just buy something else that I have my eye on in the same kind of era and the same type of look.
What can I help you with?
I have the one and only Ayler Cup.
The Ayler Cup. It's one big cup.
Named after a fellow by the name of Lillard Ayler.
Okay.
This is a World War I trophy for horsemanship.
For horsemanship.
Have you ever heard of it before?
What is this, some kind of spittoon?
No, sir. Lillard Ayler was the first person that was killed out of the 15th Regiment, and they thought so highly of him, they decided to name a trophy after him. It's the only one. And so, obviously, I think this thing's valuable. I decided that maybe I ought to just go see what I can get for this.
How would they use horses in World War I?
Basically, automobiles aren't real advanced at the time. So a team of horses could carry something through the muck a lot easier than a lot of cars would. You know, they were transporting field artillery. They were transporting troops. They were ambulances.
So would they use these horses in battle?
Towards the beginning of the war, there was actually some battles where they tried to do cavalry charges, but cavalry charge is completely ineffective against 10 machine guns. You know, you just mow them down. Mechanized warfare more or less killed the cavalry. But at the beginning of World War I, tanks and air forces really hadn't been developed yet. So horses still had their place on the battlefield, but they probably shouldn't have.
You will not find another cup like this. It's pure silver.
You will find gazillions of cups like this. This was a standard thing that just about every jewelry store sold. They would engrave them for you. This was given to some dude named Joseph of Battery D in 1930 for good horsemanship.
I understand, but the cup was honoring Mr. Ayler.
What were you looking to get out of it?
You know, quite honestly, I was looking at $2,500.
Not gonna happen.
What do you think it's worth, sir?
Got like $400 in scrap silver there.
That's it? You can't do better than that.
I would pay you scrap silver, that is it.
So you don't see any historical value in it?
None whatsoever. It was issued in 1930 to someone we have no idea of for good horsemanship. There is no military collectability there at all. Everything about it says it needs to be scrapped.
Well, I'm not going to scrap it, sir, but I appreciate your time.
All right, well, have a good one, man.
Thank you, appreciate it. Well, it kind of hurt, to be quite honest with you. I thought this was worth a lot more than just scrap metal. I think this trophy deserves some respect.
Hey, what do we got here?
Well, I've got a quirky British First World War poster.
Okay, don't keep more servants than you really need.
Yeah, that one I followed all my life, so...
Yeah, so have I.
I've been collecting military for years and bought a huge collection of British First War and Victorian items, and this poster is part of it. I set this aside because the wife liked it, but now I'm nearing retirement, so the wife says a lot of our stuff needs to go.
Interesting. We're used to seeing a lot of World War I posters here in the States. The most expensive one and desirable one of those is the girl that's dressed up in a Navy uniform. And the header was, "I wish I was a man so I could join the Navy."
Sure.
And the British were basically doing the same thing. This was obviously printed before 1918. 1918 was when actual rationing went into place in England. So before that, they were suggesting you know, don't drive as much because they needed the gasoline. Don't buy new clothes because they wanted more wartime production of military clothing than civilian clothing. And this was a time in England where if you were middle class, you usually had a cleaning lady or a handyman around the house if you had a big house. I mean, it's all legit. It's the right paper. You can see how it's aged a little bit. And also, the fake ones, they always put a year on it. So people go, look, it's, 100 years old.
Sure. Right. Yeah.
How much you want for it?
I was figuring around like 175.
That's a little much for this one. The World War I posters from England are all the ones with the battle scenes on it. It's neat. It's great history, but it's sort of blah compared to the other ones. And I'd give you $50 for it.
How about 75?
I'd give you $50. I'm being really generous here.
Well, the wife says we need to downsize and go green, which means convert to dead presidents. So I guess I'll accept your offer.
All right, we got a deal.
Sure, thank you.
I'll meet you right over there and I'll get you paid.
Okay, great.
All right, cool.
Well, I'm going to get some dead presidents, but not as many as I expected. I'm going to take the money and reinvest in a nice restaurant meal for the wife and myself.